Okay, something a little bit different today. We are going to paint a recipe card. So it's spring, there's lots of activities. I don't know about you, but there's lots of things going on and people that I just want to give little gifts to. So what I'm doing is I'm taking recipes that people love and I'm creating a little watercolor cards. So today, or recipe cards, I'm using a 4x6. So it's just like the recipe card that my mom and my grandma had. This one is lemon bars. So I hope this inspires you or paint along with me. And I'm going to include the recipe from my very favorite lemon bars today in the show notes below. Hi everyone, welcome to this special edition of the Creative Season YouTube channel. We are creating a recipe card today, something a little bit different. May is a busy month for all of us, right? But lots of holidays coming up. I've got Mother's Day. We have my best friend's birthday, her sister's birthday, my sister-in-law's birthday, so many things in the month of May. And so one of the gifts I'm making this year are recipe cards with little watercolors with favorite baking dishes that I've made. So a little bit different than flowers today, but just to maybe give you an idea of a simple way that you could bless someone. It doesn't need to be for a birthday, right? This could be any sort of just fun present gift for someone. I'm making it purposely smaller on a 4x6 so you could stick it in the mail, or if you actually have a recipe box, I know those seem to be antiquated these days, you could stick it in there. I have a recipe binder that I put recipes in, and so I wanted to do lemon bars today. Now I want to point out a few things. As you saw in some of the pictures, I have stacked my lemon bars just like as I pulled them out here, and I actually pulled these out of the freezer. So the powdered sugar, actually it looks like I've never frozen them before, but they actually froze really nicely. I will, before sharing them or giving them, I will just douse a little bit of fresh powdered sugar on them so they'll look lovely. But for the sake of painting, it was kind of nice to not have powdered sugar everywhere. And I will include the recipe in the show notes today. So you can see that I've got my bars. I have them a little irregularly shaped as far as stacked, right? Because that'll create some, well, it's real life. They are not perfectly cut. On the top one, I gave it a little bit of a third dimensional area, right? So we can see this top and this side and the two sides as it's kind of jutting out there. And then I've just, one of the other things I want to point out is you can just, these are just the little details that can really make something like a lemon bar, which is kind of bland in appearance. You can make it stand out in your watercolor. And I'm just going to back this up a bit. You can see the brown edge, or the edges that we're going to make brown, where that crust comes up. And then I included a lemon back over here. And so I have this taped down and I've got this space. After we paint, what I'll do is I'll go back in and I'll write very carefully the instructions, the ingredients and the instructions, and I might have to put some of the instructions on the back, but that is just fine because I can include a personal note. This is going to be for Chrislyn because I know she likes my lemon bars, but she teases me that I've brought them to so many gatherings that they're my signature dessert, especially in the spring and summer, and they really are. I love to make them and to share them. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, you could do this with any dessert, maybe a piece of chocolate cake if that's your favorite. My mom loves key lime pie. She doesn't eat a lot of dessert. It's one of the only desserts that she will actually eat. So I'll be making one of key lime pie. I've made that for her probably twice a year for many years now, for her birthday and Mother's Day. First, why don't we go ahead, I want to actually paint the background. So I'm going to, I was thinking about this, if I wanted to do just some splattering, or I wanted to do a little bit of a glow here. And I think I do want to do just a little bit of a glow. And actually, my glow, I think I'm going to use just a little bit of, I think I'm going to do green. So I'm going to do a little bit of green, because that'll look nice against the brown, the little bit of brown, but we're going to use a lot of yellow. And so what I'm going to do is just around the plate, I'm going to create that. This will act as our shadow underneath. A lot of times I'll use purple because that's such a complementary color with yellow, but I wanted to do just something a little bit different today. And so I'm going to add some more water, and then really lightly, I'm going to do just a really super light wash. So almost where there's just a hint of color. It's not a ton, but it's just going to give something for our lemon bars to pop off the page with is the goal. And I'm using a Hooker's green today. You guys know, if you've been with me for a while, that's one of my favorite greens to use. And it's the medium hue. And once again, I'm just moving around the paper. If it looks too dark, add some more water, or you could even grab a paper towel or a soft cloth and you can use that to lift up some of the paint. Around the background, I don't want it to be too much. In fact, what I'm going to do is I am going to lift up a little bit by the lemon bars because I think I want to do some splattering, just a little bit of splattering. So I'm just going to go ahead and gently lift up some of the color. There we go, that looks nice. Again, you have a little bit left because I don't want it to be plain white today, but not too much. And then I'll come back over here, a little bit lighter green. And there we go. So this looks good. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab a little bit of brown with my smaller brush. And I'm using a size 4 and a size 6 today brushes. Size 7. Size 7 and a size, do I have a size? You know, I might just have use my size 7 today. Because I think I put my teeny tiny one away for traveling and I didn't pull it out. So we're just going to use one size. I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to dab and do some little dots. And so many times when we're doing these sketches, these 15-minute sketches, using the fun of watercolor is letting the color and the light create the images for us. So we really light a lot of white spots and leave that imagination to play with what's on the page, and the mind will fill in the blanks. So I don't have to create a really detailed picture of lemon bars. My friend is going to know what these are. Well, and of course the fact that they're on the top. The name is on the top of the page. That's going to give it away. But again, I'm going to do that crust, and it's not key lime pie has a graham cracker crust, but I used it's just a powdered sugar flour butter crust for lemon bars, and it is delicious. So I'm just going to go ahead and do my light crust, and we're going to let that sit because we don't want the yellow to blend in so much that all of a sudden it merges right with the paper. Okay, now if you want to use a different brown as well, I'm going to add in, that was burnt sienna, I'm going to put just a bit of raw umber in because if you're like me, especially on those edge pieces, I tend to sometimes just a little bit overcook it, overbake it, and we get a little crispy. And even on the edges, I'm even going to put just a little bit of some dark spots right in here. Okay, I'm also going to use this color for the center of my lemons. That's a little bit dark in there, and you can just barely see it on this lemon here. And you can move around your shapes however you like. You know, we always remember that when we're creating this painting, it's not like a recipe where you have to put everything in or the recipe falls apart. When we're creating our art, we can leave things in or we can take them out. And so a lot of times when I'm painting flowers, I will not include all the petals or all the leaves. If it's a super lots of stems, I'm doing the peony masterclass workshop right now, and you know, those are very leafy, beautiful flowers. I'm not including all of those leaves on them, just selecting them off. We get to do that when we paint. So this looks good. I'm liking this a lot. Let's go ahead and grab our yellow. I'm going to pull that. And I'm going to get this nice and wet. I have a cadmium yellow, I have a lemon yellow, and I have cadmium, a yellow, a light, and a medium hue. So we're going to use all of them. But if you're painting along, use whatever you have. If you only have one yellow, what you'll do is you'll use some gradients to create the different shades of yellow. So every time you want to layer a little bit more yellow or add a little bit more of a brighter pop, you're going to put another layer of color. Or what you might do, I'm going to come in a little bit closer, is add just a hint of orange, and just a hint. So what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to start laying in some yellow on the sides. We have the powdered sugar on the top, so really I'm going to leave this kind of white up on top. I'm not going to paint it all in. And I want to create that sense of texture because lemon bars, as you know, there is texture between the layers. So I'm going to let some of that brown merge up, and I'm going to add a little bit of the cadmium medium hue, just a little bit to the middle part. And I am, now this looks bolder than in real life. But once again, we're gonna create a little bit bolder of a color here. If it looks too bold, we can always either dab it with the water, like this, or we can come back in with our soft cloth and dab it like that too. But you know, we're just continuing on with our lemon bar. I'm gonna pick up some of my lemon yellow for these ones down here, and that's probably a little bit more. You can tell I'm playing today with my lemon bars. I've got a couple of these to do. And just moving that around. And that one does look a little bit darker than I want it to be, so I'll just come back up. I mean, I didn't bake it that long. Okay, so I'll just stab it. And that's, you know, everything is pretty much fixable here. So I'll pick up that color again. I'll go back to my lemon yellow, and I'll come back down here, and I'll come over here and drop that lemon yellow in. Okay, that is looking nice. That is looking very nice. Now I do want to create a little bit more color where you're going to see a little bit more shadow. So I'm going to add a little bit more layers to, let me come in a little bit closer. There we go. Like right under here and under here, right? Because the layers of lemon bars on top of each other are going to create that deeper color when you look at them. Even as you look at your bar, if you have, go back and see the picture, you can see there's some shadowing. I don't really want to add too much like purple to this today because I have a feeling that in our 15-minute project, that could make a mess. So I'm just going to use the yellow and leave some white spaces. I'm going to leave that alone. I really like that. And I like to, our crust has its own distinct layer, but it's blending a little bit, just like the actual lemon bars. I'm going to come back and add a little bit more to that crust, but let's go back over to our actual lemons. And you'll notice too with lemons, it's very interesting, their color, right? So this is pretty yellow. On the inside though, it's lighter. So that lemon, I wanted that lemon in the back there because I wanted that more of a pop of color to be the background. So I am going to start with the lemon yellow and come around and then dab up here on the top. And then if you have a bolder yellow or just a hint of an orange, I'm going to take up my cadmium yellow medium hue and I'm just going to touch it, especially where there's going to be more shadow, where it's up against the lemon bar, and I'm just going to leave that alone. Isn't that interesting? That's really fun, right? You can really play with the shadowing just by adding, I'll put a little bit more over here, that extra bounce of color, and that way the light is bouncing off here still. Now with this color right here, I'm going to grab that yellow lemon color again, and if you don't have yellow lemon, cadmium yellow light will do the trick just fine. Okay, and that looks good. Now I could take a little bit on around the edges, that darker color, but I'm not going to do too much. Okay, very nice. Now what I will do though is I'm going to take that brown and let's just do a little bit around the edges of the plate. I'm going to keep the plate white for the most part, but I just want to show where there's that curvature. And this is not my best plate, that's for sure, but we're just going to go with it today. I just did some sketching. This is just a watercolor sketch. It's meant to be fun. We're already about 13 minutes in. I think this is super cute. Now, if you want to come back with me, just take that brown and just do a little bit more of a dabs over on that crust. A little bit might get up into your top layer, your middle layer. That's okay. But once again, we're just adding a little bit more detail here. If you wanted to come back with your micron pen after it's dry and add some more of the speckles, like I had started with some speckles to show some of those crumbs, do it. That would look really, really fun. I am going to take a little bit of brown and just do just a little bit of shadowing. And that looks just a little bit dark to me, so I'll come back and I'll just dab it. I just want that hint of a shadow. I don't want it to be stark white. And we'll just go like that. I'll get the brush a little bit wet and then just smooth this out. And if your paint does end up merging or just bleeding in, use your micron pen after it dries. Just add in a little bit more sketching and that'll be lovely. That will be really nice. Now I realized too, it looks like I actually missed a spot of my lemon bar here. So let me go ahead back in here. If you missed anything, I'm going to grab my cadmium yellow and just do a little bit of pop where I know there would be a darker edge. Okay, now I am going to do some splattering up top. Let me back this up a little bit. And with the splattering, what you want to do is you can wait till it dries completely so the splatters will really pop. But I'm just going to splatter a little bit of yellow around the lemon bars and then even on top. And I'm going to grab some green as well. I want to add actually a little bit more green in here so it's not looking flat. I'm going to put some splatters of the green up here, and that looks cute. And I'm going to take a little bit of the green as well, and I am just going to almost highlight the inside of the plate. Just a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit on the rind of my lemon, and if it does that, don't worry. I'm just doing a little bit over here. It bled in just a tad bit, but that's fine. I'm going to take my plain brush, and I'll just soak that up and just move that all around. I just like to add in the colors all over the painting so it looks really, really uniform. And then what I'll do is where it looks a little bit yellow right there, and I got just a tad bit there that's sunk in, I'll just sop it out with the brush. I'll come back with my yellow, and we'll just add it in, just like that. Okay, very good. We are all done. I'll back this out now. Isn't that cute? It's just kind of, it's very whimsical. We'll write in the recipe. It's not perfect, but it's fun. It's from you. It's from the heart. It's a gift from the kitchen, so to speak, and a gift from the art studio. And I think that is pretty special and fun, and it will be well loved. So enjoy this. Have an absolutely beautiful, wonderful week, and I will